Hi everyone, it's Chenso from Reality Art Pod here to talk about Week Nine's Wednesday HoH nominations and Power Veto episode of Big Brother 27. A lot going on there. It's got to be exciting and interesting, right? Last time on Big Brother, a tragic chain of events at the White Locust sent Queen Rachel to the dreaded jury house. Before I dive in, I put a link in the description to my playlist to catch up on my recaps. If you like the content, consider liking and subscribing. You can also use my link to try Paramount Plus for free. But let's dive into it. We pick back up where we left off. Rachel's funeral. The freaking mastermind is back already, telling them not to get too comfortable because the month of mayhem has just begun. Tyler announces that the player with the fastest time in the wheel maze was Lauren, so Lauren wins her second HOH of the summer. Players return to the house to mourn Rachel and half-assedly play the game. Ashley wants to speak with the White Locust hotel management because the stay was terrible. Me too, Ashley. Morgan is still upset with Vince for picking Lauren over her in the maze competition. Morgan breaks down in the DR about Vince's decision, causing the Judges Alliance to fall apart. Vince is still happy as a clam with his decision because Lauren's HOH now and he's sitting pretty. He also inadvertently rats Morgan out to Lauren, telling Lauren that Morgan is mad that he picked Lauren over her, and Lauren tells Vince that she's thinking of nominating Morgan now. Vince has two final twos with both of them, so he wants them to get along. In the kitchen, reflective Keanu mourns the loss of his frenemy final two, complete with fade-in clips from Heaven and a cheap song with lyrics, which the show never does. Keanu wipes a single tear, but he must press on. Will and Ashley feel doomed now. Will says they can't abracadabra their way out of this one. Ava says that Rachel's responsible for her own demise. Ava plans to keep working with Ashley and Will on one side and has a final three with Kelly and Lauren on the other. This week, Lauren's targets are Morgan and Keanu. A bit of fun from Ashley. She's having a blast accusing the other players of lying about their job, telling Kelly lies about the other house guests, and acting dumb to hide her career as an attorney. In HOH, Keanu strategizes with Lauren, but Lauren tells us that Keanu doesn't know he's really her target this week and not her ally. Lauren makes her nominations, choosing Morgan, Will, and Ashley, telling us that her ultimate goal is to get Keanu up on the block with Morgan to ensure a big threat goes home. The nominees are all understanding of her choices, but Morgan is still blaming Vince for this and cries to Vince in the storage room. He promises that he'll save her with the veto, but Lauren doesn't give Morgan much reassurance, which motivates Morgan to save herself even more. Will DVRs through his whole boring conversation with Lauren. Fast forward, please, I don't blame him. Morgan complains to Ashley that she's worried that Lauren won't keep her safe. Ashley decides to use this to her advantage, running this conversation back to Lauren, who now especially doesn't want to do anything to help Morgan. They pick players for the veto competition. Morgan gets house guest choice and chooses her snuggle bunny Vince, and Ava's drawn as well, so Vince and Ava will join Lauren and her nominees in the veto comp. Lauren continues to lie to Morgan about saving her with the veto, but Lauren tells us she's so bad at lying. Morgan is so sus of Lauren. She's ready to come for Lauren's ass. Morgan tells Vince about this, making him lean again towards saving Morgan with the veto. So they head to the veto comp. BB Comics, they have to solve a mystery. Well, it's just the same as BB Comics every year. Zipping across the zip line, trying to figure out which of their comics are real, putting them in the correct order on the board. The player who does it fastest will win the veto. I remember when BB Comics was fun and new, but the comics this year were so lame. The best ones are Keanu as the butler, with Sweet Kenny K as one of the weenies. But why wasn't Vince one of the weenies? I like Jimmy's Cobra Couture. Why is Kelly a sandwich? The show doesn't even have an explanation for it. The worst ones are Morgue in. Why is Morgan in a morgue? She's been there for 9 weeks, and the show has nothing about her to make a comic besides the first syllable of her name. And all we know about Catherine is she has a nose ring. I never realized she had a nose ring. She was never on screen. We need to make these comics good or stop doing this. I do like the costumes for this challenge, and seeing them in the DR with them on, and Will swinging on his zipline. Morgan runs this challenge like the Navy. The gamer really came out today. Lauren does well in the comp too, but she wastes time in the end to throw it. In the results, the top three were in third with about 20 minutes, Ashley, in second with about 13 minutes, Lauren, and in first at around 12 minutes is Morgan, pulling out a clutch, potentially life-saving veto win. Later, Keanu suggests to Vince that Vince would be the better replacement nominee because he'd be safer than Keanu. Vince is of course not down for this. Keanu, have you not met Vince, the most selfish person on this cast? Lauren breaks the news that she's considering Keanu to him. Keanu is annoyed because he went out of his way to keep Lauren safe last week. He continues to try to press her to nominate Vince, but she does her thing where she stares at the wall and says nothing. So we get to the ceremony where Morgan of course saves herself with the veto and Lauren, as planned, nominates Keanu in her place. This was such a dragged on episode. Even with all the things they had to cover, could have been an hour, could have been an email. The show didn't even really paint the picture of how miserable the house guests were after the White Locust. We're left with Keanu, Ashley, and Will on the block. At this point, I'm just hoping Keanu goes because I'm not ready for Ashley or Will to go. And you know what? I think Ashley's gonna win the blockbuster. That's my prediction. But let me know in the comments what you thought of this episode, Lauren's HOH, Morgan's veto win. Who do you think will win the blockbuster? And who do you want to go home tomorrow? If you like this video, consider liking and subscribing. I'll be back tomorrow to recap the eviction and do my week 9 player rankings. Until next time, you know where to find me. Bye.